What's up, it's Cinema Shogun here, and it took Amber Turd all of about 5 minutes to start playing the victim card after the jury delivered the verdict. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to understand, I am not exaggerating here. Literally about 5 minutes passed before AH resumed her fake victim campaign. And she posted this tweet literally minutes after the verdict was delivered. And I'm sure some of you all can make the point that maybe this was, a pre-prepared statement. And yeah, I agree. It most likely is. But damn, this woman couldn't give it a few minutes. She couldn't just let this verdict sit and settle in for just a few minutes before going right back on the attack, before playing the victim card once again. Does this woman not realize that her lies are coming on a little bit too thick? A jury of her peers just exposed her lies in front of the entire world. That's what happened here, ladies and gentlemen. A jury of her peers decided that everything she said was a blatant and utter lie. A jury of her peers decided that AH is a liar, and the worst kind of liar. A liar that accuses someone of doing something that they never did. And in this moment, where come on, I knew she was going to do something like this, but she could have at least given it a second. You know what I'm saying? Give it a rest. Take a breather for a moment. This is not working out for you. Regroup, come up with a different strategy. You and Eve Barlow, sit down, think of something different, because this approach isn't working. But she does not get the hint. This woman does not get the hint. And honestly, I think she's a little bit confident that the mainstream media is still behind her, and that's why she's releasing this statement. And this may come as a bit of a shock to all of you all. But I am disappointed right now. I am legit. I never thought I would see myself saying this. But in this very moment, after reading her statement, it's almost weird to say, but I am disappointed in AH. I really am. I feel like we all always have room to grow as people. Don't get me wrong. I know AH was lying. I feel like she's been lying the entire time. Never did I think that she wasn't lying. But I felt like even someone like her had room to grow from this. Even though she brought this entire situation on herself, that maybe once the jury found that Johnny was the winner, that maybe she could take that, she could sit with it, and she could learn from her mistakes, and she could grow as a person. She could move on with her life, raise that daughter she adopted, go live in her desert oasis that I just showed you all the other day. Go watch that video if you haven't. She could go live in her $1 million mansion in the middle of the desert and chill with the hippies or whatever she likes doing. And she could grow from this. Because we all, as people, we always have room to grow. I'm growing as a person every day. In fact, the fact that I'm even sitting here and I even had one shred of sympathy for this woman is an indicator that I'm growing as a person. Because I could be cold-blooded and cold-hearted and ruthless when it comes to my critique of people like her. But I've been really easy on her. Yeah, I've made jokes. Yeah, I've shared some memes. Yeah, I've been making content. Yeah, I've acknowledged the fact that she's a liar. But I feel like I've been kind of easy on her. And I probably could have gotten more views and more subscribers if I was harsher on her. But I tried to view her as a human being as well. So I pulled my punches a little bit, let's say that. And I was hoping that in this moment when she lost, that she would take that L, she would sit down and realize that what she did was wrong, and I didn't think that she would ever publicly acknowledge it. but maybe she could just fade out a little bit. I'm not even asking that this woman never works again, but just at least, for the love of God, realize that the public sees through your lies. Realize that maybe you just did all of this for no reason. It backfired on you. It's time for you to grow from your mistakes, learn from your mistakes, move past it. But no. Within minutes, she's right back at it. This woman will never learn. And now I feel no sympathy. I really didn't feel sympathy for her in the first place. I just felt like, in this moment, when all of this is said and done, that maybe she could grow from it, because I try to give people the benefit of the doubt when I can. But man, oh man, this woman is proving just how big of a piece of crap she really is. And it's just the truth. Here's her statement. And I want you all to understand, this statement came directly after the verdict. It's the most disrespectful to the jury and everyone involved. The disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power and influence and sway of my ex-husband. Mountain of evidence? Did you all watch the same trial that I just watched? What mountain of evidence did she have against Johnny? In fact, it was the other way around. Last time I checked, the evidence that AH brought to the table were doctored photos, edited photos, sometimes duplicate photos in which she said they were from separate occasions. What mountain of evidence? Is this woman delusional? Is this woman psychotic? I think we know the answer to both of these questions, but damn, to sit here and just blatantly act like you had a mountain of evidence after the entire world just watched this trial, please, at least give people the benefit of the doubt. At least, view these people who are going to be reading your tweet as if they have a shred of knowledge in their brain. It's as if she thinks everyone's beneath her, as if everyone is stupid, that if she just says it, it makes it real. No, there was never a mountain of evidence anywhere. I'm even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women. This is where it's going to piss me off. It is a setback. It sets back the clock to a time when a woman who spoke up and spoke out could be publicly shamed and humiliated. It sets back the idea that violence against women is to be taken seriously. It's hard for me to even say what I want to say here, because I feel like real victims, actual women who actually went through these type of things, they could say it much better than I can. I'm not a victim of DV or SA. I can't put myself in their shoes. I can't. But that doesn't mean that this statement doesn't enrage me, that this statement doesn't piss me off. Because I know there's countless numbers of women who've been in these situations for real. And for her to try to word this statement in this way, for her to try to weaponize other people's experiences in order for her to shield herself from criticism, it's absolutely disgusting, because that's what she's doing here. She's plucking real life victims. In fact, all of you at home, not all of you, but any of you all who've been through something like she claims she went through, she's using you right now as a human shield. Yes, you watching this video right now, you are being used right now by AH as a human shield to shield her from criticism, because her lies have been exposed. So now she's playing the ultimate victim card, She wants to play into all of these other people's emotions. And people reading the statement who have been through these things, this is reopening old wounds for them. And for what? Because she's lying? That's disgusting. That she's trying to placate to what other people have been affected by emotionally and physically in order to gain some type of victory here. It's just, a moment ago I said I was disappointed, but now it goes beyond that. This is absolutely disgusting. This isn't a step back for victims. This is a step forward. It never should have been a thing where, you had to be a certain gender to be affected by the situation, to be affected by DV and SA. But for her to act like this, that her loss is a loss for everyone, oh man, it just puts such a bad taste in my mouth. For her to sit here and act like her losing in court today was a loss for every woman who's ever had something done to them. It's far from that. It's so far from that. But like I said, it would take someone who's truly been in this situation to fully express this, But just me as an onlooker here, it's just, words can't express how it makes me feel, And I try to be as PG as possible on my channel. I don't want to cuss, and you know what? I don't want to stoop to this woman's level and really say how I feel about this woman right now, but I feel like she is just an absolutely disgusting waste of skin. A waste of skin. Why are you here? When it gets to this point where it seems like the only reason you exist on this planet is to drag down others and that you get enjoyment from ruining other people's lives, It's like, what is your purpose on this earth? It seems like she's made her purpose to make other people miserable. She gets pleasure from other people's misery, and I hate people like that. But let's just go on with her statement. I believe Johnny's attorney succeeded in getting the jury to overlook the key issue of freedom of speech and ignore evidence that was so conclusive that we won in the UK. Man. All right, in the UK, I'm not sure how closely you all followed that trial. I would be lying if I said I followed that trial as closely as I did this one, because I didn't, and it wasn't televised over here, so it was a totally different situation. This trial, they introduced a lot more evidence, I believe, than they did in the last trial. So that last trial was totally bogus BS, if you ask me. This trial was the real trial. That was just like the pre-trial, if you ask me. That was just, it was nonsense that she even basically, I guess, won that trial. But that's something that I tried to hammer home in my last video, that this war is not over. Right now, we have a victory for AH and we have a victory for Johnny Depp. That's the reality of the situation. AH won in the UK, Johnny Depp won in the US, and now they're going to have to settle this right in Ukraine, in the middle of the war with Russia. This is the true battle of Ukraine. AH versus Johnny Depp. The fate of the world is depending on it. Round 3. Obviously, that's my weak attempt at humor. I hope some of you all laughed. But what's really funny here, man, is that she's trying to turn this into a freedom of speech debate. Let me tell you a little something about myself. I absolutely love and adore the freedom of speech. I love the fact that people in this country have the freedom, or at least we used to a few years ago, not anymore. But we used to have the freedom to say whatever we wanted. You know, over the last couple of years, our freedom of speech has definitely been threatened. And I would argue we don't have 100% true freedom of speech anymore. In fact, I can't even say this woman's name on my YouTube videos, or else YouTube will demonetize them. In fact, over the course of this whole entire trial, every last one of my videos that I've made about AH has been demonetized, and I've had to send it in for further review, which means YouTube reviews the videos. There's obviously nothing wrong with them, but because I say her name or I have her name in the title, they automatically demonetize it. Then I have to send it in for review. That often takes, at least for my channel, like 48 hours, sometimes 72 hours. So by the time my videos are getting monetized, they're already old news. So I haven't really been successful at covering this trial at all. You know, I've been doing this just to get the truth out there. As far as money goes, I haven't really been compensated by YouTube because they've demonetized all my videos. So I've been working, covering this trial for like a month and some change now with basically nothing to show for it. And I'm okay for that, but I just want to bring up the fact that freedom of speech is gone, okay? When I can't cover a trial that is on television, and when I can't say this woman's name, the freedom of speech is gone. Yes, I'm aware there are channels out there who have been extremely successful in covering this story and covering this trial. Shouts out to them. I'm glad that YouTube has allowed them to do so. YouTube has not allowed me to do so. In fact, they've shadow banned me. They've basically yanked all of the ads off the videos and everything. It's been insane for the last 6 weeks. It's been insane. While most people have been enjoying YouTube's success while covering this trial, they've put me in timeout, put me in the corner. It's really weird what's been going on. But I only make that point to say that the freedom of speech, it's not the same as it used to be. But this right here is not an example of, freedom of speech. Just because you have the freedom of speech doesn't mean you could accuse people of doing something that they didn't do. So yeah, I'm free to say whatever I want, but I can't say, hey, one of my YouTube viewers touched me in the wrong place, and get you fired from your job, right? I can't sit here and say, you know what? That one person who's watching my YouTube videos, they say mean things to me and contact your job and lie on you. Those are things you can't do. So the freedom of speech, when we really did have it, it still only went so far. It doesn't give you the freedom to lie on people. It doesn't give you the freedom to make people lose their jobs. So the fact that this woman even thinks freedom of a speech is a factor here is absolutely freaking hilarious, and it shows just how stupid she is. And it makes me think that maybe she actually wrote the statement herself and not her PR team, because who in their right mind would equate the freedom of speech to this trial? What? Yes, you're free to say whatever you want, but you just can't make up lies and allegations about people and then post it in the newspaper or articles online. Even if she wanted to make all of these false allegations about Johnny and tell her sister and tell her mom and tell her friends, that probably would have went about okay. But the fact that she wanted to write articles about it, no, you do not get away with that. That has nothing to do with the freedom of speech. But the freedom of speech is very, very important. And at least she acknowledges that, even though she is definitely a freaking liar. But she closes out her statement by saying, I'm sad I lost this case. Well, I'm happy you lost. But I am sadder still. I'm sad I lost this case. But I am sadder still that I seem to have lost a right I thought I had as an American to speak freely and openly. She doubled down on it, folks. Whoa. She made that freedom of speech comment and then doubled down on it like she's lost her rights as an American. Listen, we have many rights as an American, many rights that I enjoy, and a lot of you all enjoy. Over the past few years, people act like America's a super bad, horrible place. It's the worst place in the world. It's not. It's one of the best places on earth. Yes, it can get better, but we have rights here that you will not get in most other places on earth. And one right that we do not have is to accuse your significant other of stuffing wine bottles inside of you and breaking them off inside of you while simultaneously beating your face in every day when it really didn't happen. That is not one of our rights. I've looked through our Constitution. I've looked through all of our amendments. I've read the Declaration of Independence. Where did it say that? Where? I've been to history class. I love history. I've read so many, for fun, I used to read social studies books. When in school, when we got our books, I would read through my whole social studies book because I loved history. I really loved the history of this country. I loved learning about the history of this country. I guess that would be the better statement. But nowhere did it say you have the right to accuse your significant other of things they didn't do in order to gain fame and fortune. We don't have that right as an American. So thinks it's her right to just lie on whoever she wants to. That's not the case. That's not freedom of speech. But you know what? I'm glad she ended out like this. I was disappointed at first, but over the course of this video, I just find it hilarious. And she just made herself look like a complete idiot. Right? Or is it just me? This is one of the most idiotic statements I've ever read. When did she ever argue that this was a freedom of speech debate? When? This is the first time she's ever said something about it. So what she's doing here, she's trying to placate to a certain audience. She's trying to placate to people like me, who are adamant in sticking next to the freedom of speech. I'm so passionate about keeping our freedom of speech intact and fighting for our freedom of speech. And this statement by her it's supposed to appeal to people like myself. But it's not. It's making her look even stupider. But I want to know your thoughts about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. If you like anything I said here today, drop a super thanks or hit up my Cash App. But as always, find some time out of your day, and I haven't said this in a while, but go watch a Johnny Depp movie.